Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about the Olympics and all the racism surrounding the Olympics. There are plenty of cases that I could have put on this video, but I took 3 that annoyed me the most. Let's get started.
Vizuri wakiintroduce hiyo third category ya hawa watu wako na high testosterone, kwa sababu ni vibaya kuzuia watu wasi-utilize talent zao. Mimi hata haijai kuja kwa mind yangu, nilikataa kutoka.
This African woman cannot compete because her testosterone level is too high according to the Olympic staff. According to them, she's unnatural. She's made by God in that way, and she's clearly a woman, but according to them, she's unnatural, not enough a woman. However, if you're wondering, what is the racism in this? Maybe it's just the testosterone. Let me remind you of something.
New Zealand has chosen the first transgender athlete to compete at its Olympic Games. Laurel Hubbard is a female weightlifter who will be in Tokyo next month. Supporters call her selection a breakthrough for the transgender community. It's also reignited a debate with critics who say it's unfair for an athlete who used to compete with men to participate in women's sports.
Now, this video is not about transgender athletes. To be perfectly honest with you, I couldn't care less. But can somebody explain to me how a natural woman, born a female, cannot compete against other women, but somebody who used to compete against other men can compete against women? Our women are not women enough. They are too manly. They cannot compete. That's how they treat African women. They tell them, you are too manly. But New Zealand, or whatever the country is, they can bring men to compete against our women. Now, that is white privilege right there. Do you understand? They can change the rules whenever they want, however they want. And when we are winning, when our women are winning, they will find out these weird things to say that our women cannot compete because they are too dominant or whatever. To me, that's the definition of white privilege. That's what they've always done. They change the rules whenever they want to change the rules. And now they're changing the rules to favor them again. Wait till an African transgender comes down and competes. They will tell you that that person is not a transgender enough. This is probably one of the most absurd things I've ever heard in my life. A woman has to use drugs in order to compete and become more of a woman, I guess. But whatever, you get the point. Let's get on to the next one.
People up in arms. Swim caps that are designed for swimmers with natural hair have been banned from the games. So SoulCap, a black-owned company that designed and manufactures swimming caps, got rejected from the Federation for International Competitions in Water Sports. That group said that the Soul caps deviate from, quote, the natural form of the head. Now, the company has responded saying, quote, we hope to further our work for diversity in swimming by having our swim caps certified for competition, so swimmers at any level don't have to choose between the sport they love and their hair.
This was actually a shocking decision. People thought that this was going to be walk in a park. Of course they're going to allow it. Swimming have been saying for years that they want more black and African athletes. They've been saying it for a long time that we have to be more inclusive. We want to give opportunity to black people because there are not that many black swimmers, and now they're becoming top athletes. We want to encourage this. That's what they say. But then when they are given the opportunity to do something about it, they show you their true face. Because this is just a swimming gear protect the hair. And if you have natural hair, afro and things, it doesn't fit the normal hair gear, or whatever it's called. So that's why this company, this black-owned company, decided to make it for black swimmers. And it actually slows you down, because the more hair you have and the bigger your hair gear is, it slows you down. It doesn't give you an advantage. But they still couldn't allow it. And this shows you their true face. It shows you that, it's not about being inclusive. Or it is, as you saw in the last clip. It is being inclusive when they want to include each other. Then they'll be inclusive. But for you, they won't give you a hairpiece. They won't allow anything regarding you. But they will change the nature of the game when it comes to themselves. And it's absurd. Now, let's get on to the next one.
And what's a truly heartbreaking story, Olympic gold medalist Brianna McNeil tells the New York Times it was her abortion trauma that caused her to miss her mandatory drug test, which is ultimately why she's been suspended from the Olympics for 5 years and will miss the Tokyo Summer Games. McNeil missed her mandatory drug test 2 days after she had an abortion in January 2020. She was recovering and says she did not hear the official at her door. The crux of her case reportedly revolves around the fact that McNeil changed the abortion date on her doctor's note by 1 day, believing she got the procedure date wrong. Here's reporting from the New York Times. Quote, in its case against her, McNeil said, World Athletics said it didn't believe she was so traumatized by the abortion that she got the date of the procedure wrong. McNeil said that as a Christian, she felt guilt about the abortion, which she underwent so she could compete in the 2020 Games. She said she was even more crushed when the Games were postponed until 2021 because the delay meant she could have had the baby after all.
Now that's heartbreaking. She had to have an abortion in order to compete, only to find out that the whole competition is postponed. That is harsh. And then 2 days after she had the abortion, somebody knocked on her door. I'm assuming she lives in a proper mansion, and I'm assuming that she wanted to be alone, so there weren't many people there. Now, she said she didn't hear any bells ringing. And it's hard to imagine somebody doping themselves up right after an abortion. That shit makes no sense to me. But then they forced her to fill in the papers, what she was doing, and show the evidence and everything. And she did. And she wrote the wrong day down. It wasn't like she wrote wrong year. It was just the wrong day. If I remember correctly, it was a day before or somewhere like quite close. And then they decided to ban her for 5 years so that she would miss not only this Olympics but the next Olympics. And when asked, why in the world would you do that? They said, we don't believe she was traumatized. She's a black woman, an African American. What is so big deal about having an abortion? So to them, a black woman having an abortion is absolutely nothing. So they banned her for 5 years. 5 years. 2 Olympics. Her whole career is gone because of their decision. And what did she do? They've tested her before and after. Never have they found anything in her blood. There's no evidence of any of it. But that's not good enough. When we have the opportunity to ban you, we will ban you for 5 years. And this is Olympics for you. This is how they roll. What shocks me the most is that they seem to specifically be targeting black women. It is as if they don't want any black women to participate. I don't know why that is, but you cannot deny that there is a clear targeted effort to make sure that black women do not compete. There was also the case that one of them, she smoked weed when her mother died or something, and then she is now banned and cannot compete. smoked weed in a place that it was legal to smoke weed. And I don't know how that's supposed to benefit her in any way, shape, or form. But you know what? Whatever. It's just the same kind of thing. They are trying to make sure that black women do not compete, and they are using dehumanizing methods to do so. I hope you liked this video. Please share, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you all on the next one. Thank you very much.